Hey there, tech fans. Rick here again with another review. And today, I have a product that has nothing to do with electronics, but I felt like I had to talk about it anyway because I like it so much. Now, here in the Northeast, it gets really cold in the wintertime. So right about September, I'll pull all my hoses inside, I'll take all my nozzles off, I'll put them in a bucket, take them down the basement, and something magical happens during the winter where when springtime rolls around and I drag the hoses back up, my nozzles don't work. They're either clogged, they're leaking, they're cracked, and it gets really frustrating because they're not inexpensive products. So I was looking this year for a nozzle that I could use for a couple of summers, and hopefully it was going to last me a long time. And I settled on this one. It's an all-metal design from our friends over at Fanhao, and it really is just like an industrial grade nozzle. And that's really what I'm looking for, because it seems like all the nozzles I'm using now have plastic bases, they have plastic parts on the top, the triggers are plastic. So what usually happens is they'll fail where they connect to the hose and start leaking, and then your shoes get all wet and your pants get wet, or they get clogged up and they're not shooting that water straight, or worse, the trigger breaks and then I can't turn them off. They're just on all the time, and I might as well at that point just put my thumb over the end of the hose. So this unit is phenomenal for a lot of different reasons. For starters, it's an all-metal construction. It's an aluminum alloy, which means it's going to last a long time. I don't know how this is ever going to fail. So on the connection point in the bottom where it connects up to your hose, it's metal down there as well, and that's typically where most of my nozzles fail. Even with a rubber gasket or two in there, the hose can't tighten enough against that plastic thread, and you get leaking down there, and it starts off as a tiny drip, as you know, and eventually it gets worse and worse, and the next thing you know, your pants are soaking wet. So I love the fact that it's got a metal connection point in the bottom. I also love the fact that I've got a nice trigger pull. A lot of the triggers are really hard to pull, or they're really loose, and then you're spraying stuff you don't expect. This one's got sort of that Goldilocks zone of trigger pull where it's right where I want it. It's not too hard, not too soft, but it gets the job done. Plus it feels really good in your hand. It's got a bit of weight to it because, again, it's an all metal design. It also has a latch on the bottom where you can close it and keep it open. Now, if you've done any watering in your backyard, especially if you're soaking your plants or your trees, you don't want to be holding that thing the whole time squeezing it, so that little latch is really nice. But the best part of this whole thing is the front nozzle here, because it's totally adjustable. So you can turn it from a high pressure stream all the way to a beautiful little gentle cone that you can run across the top of your flowers and not rip them apart. So you spin this basically to go from that stream to that cone that I just mentioned. And again, I have to talk a lot about this because the engineering and the machining behind this is perfect. It's got just the right amount of tension where I know it's not going to move on me. So once I set it where I like it, it's going to stay there. A lot of the other ones I had, I'd set it to where I thought it would be right, and then I'm using it for a little while, and the next thing you know, it's drifting in one direction or the other, and all of a sudden I'm clobbering my plants because it's moved too far to that high jet stream. With this one, you set it where you need to and it stays where it is. You're also not cranking this thing like a lot of the ones I have, where if you have calcification in your water, you've got minerals in your water, they tend to get clogged up over time. I've been using this for a couple of weeks and it looks brand new. And believe me, I've dropped it on the concrete, I dropped it on, we have some pavers in the back, I've dropped it on there, and it just bounces off and keeps working. So I like it an awful lot. I also think it's a great touch that they've included two washers, because a lot of them come with a washer that's already in there and they don't last very long. Those are the first things that go come springtime. When I pull it out of the box to use it with the hose, the washers are cracked or they're hard as a rock, and then they're not going to do their job. They give you two washers here, so I can use one this summer. I can use the same one probably next summer because they're high quality washers. And if I lose one or break one, I've got a spare. And that's something they didn't have to do as a company. They could have stuck one washer in there and just said good luck with it. So I think it's great they've added two. Now, if you stay tuned, I'll take you outside and I'll show you how you can adjust this from a high pressure stream down to a cone, and I'll give you a couple of other things that I really like about it. So if you're out there looking for a new nozzle, you can use the things I like about it to compare this to others you may be considering. So stay tuned, we'll take a walk outside, and then I'll do a little bit of a an end cap here where I explain what I like so much about the product. I hope that demonstration was helpful in showing you just how easy it is to change the pressure this product delivers by simply spinning the nozzle on the front. And the best thing is, when you spin it into position, it's going to stay right where you left it. It's not going to wander all over the place here. You got a high pressure stream now and all of a sudden it moves to a scattered stream. It's going to stay right where you want it. And it's incredibly easy to move it from that high pressure stream, which by the way is perfect for washing your car or hosing off a sidewalk, all the way down to the gentler cone that I mentioned, which your flowers are going to love. Now, to be fair, There are two distinct schools of thought when it comes to nozzles, and I know I'm making this more technical than I need to, but the school of thought that I like is this one, where it's a single nozzle on the front, and I can vary the pressure as I need to by spinning that. The other school of thought likes the predetermined settings, where you've got a nozzle that may have 7 or 8 different clicks on the front of it, where you can get a horizontal stream or a vertical stream or a soaker stream. A lot of gardeners like that, and I guess that's perfect if you've got certain use cases where those things fit. Well, it turns out I'm in this camp, and my wife's in the other camp. So when I came home with this one and she saw me using it, she said, hey, do they make one of those that's sort of a 7 selection one? And it turns out Fanhao makes one that's an all metal design as well, with those 7 selections on the front. So I'll be doing a review of that one as well, because after using this one, I tried hers and I gotta say, it works pretty well. So I'll talk about that one in a separate video, but back to this one. So what do I like about this one? I like a lot about it. First off, I love that it's an all metal design, which I'm assuming is gonna last a couple of years. It may outlast me, to be honest with you, but the all metal design means I'm not gonna have leaking on the bottom from a plastic fitting down there. I'm not gonna have corrosion up top here. I've got a great trigger on it. It's not gonna give up on me. It's not too hard to pull it. It's not too loose. I love the latch on the bottom where I can hold it in position. And I really, really love the adjustment on this nozzle. I'm telling you, when you do it for the first time, it feels like a really nice piece of machinery that's been tooled correctly. It's got enough detent, enough drag in it where it's gonna stay right where you leave it. And I know I'm gushing about it, no pun intended, but for me, this solves a lot of problems for me. My sneakers are not getting wet when I'm out in the back. I'm not getting soaked pants. It puts the water right where I need it, and I have total control over how much water is heading downstream towards the tree or the plants that I'm firing it at. So I think you're gonna like it an awful lot. I think the company's done a great job with it, and I hope you found this review helpful. So thanks an awful lot for watching, and until next time, as always, stay nerdy.